Hello everyone. In this video, I will show you a new feature in Image Matrix that allow you to customize the calculation of your particle recordings, such as the position recordings. For example, in um, the position analysis, like in this protein that I show you here, which is a three-domain protein. And when I trace this protein using a fiber and it produces this trace of this fiber, now I can identify the three peaks, which are the three protein domains. And in the old way of the recording, there are several metrics are calculated, such as position, height, and among others. And once you record the location of the peak, you have these metrics put in a table. So you have one column that's called position, and another column called height, etc. So another question is, what if you want other kinds of calculations, right? Now usually the way we do that is once we get the basic metrics such as position height, then we can put them into an Excel spreadsheet and perform the other calculations based or derived from these basic metrics. And but sometimes it may be advantageous to automate that process um, inside image metrics. Right? In Excel, you can always use macros, but some people may not know how to use that. So let's see how we can do that in image metrics. So in this case, one custom metrics that I would like to know is what's the arm's length? So you have the three domain protein, right? And I would like to know what's the relative position of the peaks. For example, what is the left, right? What's its end domain relative to the middle domain, right? So D1 and D2. I want to know its two arms lengths, right? The relative, the arms length of this protein. It has two arms, right? So how do we calculate um, this relative peak position? So here I'm going to show you in the current version of image metrics how you can use a custom script that allows you to perform the calculation based on the basic metrics such as position that you already recorded for the peaks. How can you derive from those base metrics and calculate your custom metrics, such as the relative peak positions? So let's go to the region inspector. Now I have this protein open here, which has an asymmetric linker arms. So the top arm is apparently longer than the short arm and the bottom. So let's first locate the peaks using the custom script that I mentioned in another video. It's called find peaks. Click that, it automatically finds the three domains for you. And as you can see that it records position among other metrics, but it does not have the relative position that I'm just talking about. So now to do that, I can load something called a custom script. And here we have the custom operation after recording. So after recorded position, you can perform custom operations using profile. So you can load your own profile. You can also load such a profile at the table here. You have custom operation. We right click the table. You can load the profile. And still here, it's the same thing. It loads it loads the profile. You load the profile once, it appears in both places. So let's go to the sources and the scripts. And this script I'm using here is called trace post process. So I'm going to show you what it does in a sec. So once I load the profile will appear in both the right-click menu in the table. It's called trace post process, and it's also when you right-click the trace, you have the custom operation after recording, which is trace post process. Now there's a difference between these two options and under the different menus, right? In this menu here under the trace, it can perform the operation automatically for you. So once you click this, you select this profile. So let's click that. Okay. So it doesn't do anything. What it does, it picks that so you have a check mark before this profile. So the next time you record positions, it will automatically perform the calculation and adds another column called relative position for you. Now let's just perform, or alternatively, you can just perform the operation on the table that I just have here, which has, we don't have the relative position in this table, but we can use the profile we just added. So let's go ahead and right click the table. And let's click the custom operation, trace post process. Okay. Now it adds another column called relative position. So it calculates the position between the three peaks, which generates two segments, right? You have three domains, you have two segments, two arms. And the first row, I just treat them as 0, so it's meaningless, so it means nothing. And what we need to take care of is the second, this row. This means the position between the first and the second, which it essentially does, it takes the position of the second peak and subtract the position of the first peak and arrives at this number. Okay, and the third row is the same thing. It takes the position of the third peak and subtract the position of the second peak. So that's the relative position. So that's the link arm length of the segment between peak 2 and peak 3, and this is the link arm length between domain 1 and domain 2, or peak 1 and peak 2. So let's take a look at what it does under the hood for the algorithm. But before we do that, let's see what this does. So if you right click the curve, so you have these it's already checked as I just mentioned. So this allows you to automatically calculate this column, the relative position, as soon as you record that. So you don't have to perform this every single time. So let's do that. Let's repeat this process. Let's just clear the table. Yeah, let's repeat this process and so you can see better. So remember, before we do that, we pick the profile find peaks. We do not have the additional column, the relative position calculate. But right now, because we have added that profile and checked that, so as soon as we record our position, you can pick any options. Essentially, they will calculate the relative position for you. So for example, if I click find peaks, it should add additional column called relative position. Before we add the profile here, it does not calculate the additional column. But once we add this profile and check that, it allows you to automatically calculate the additional column, which is here, the relative position. See, it adds additional column for you. So in this way, you can use custom script and to add any custom calculations. You can add your own parameters, such as the relative position. You can add other parameters for you. So it's like a macro in Excel, right? Allow you to calculate additional um, calculations based on the position recordings you have. Now let's take a look at the algorithm under the profile. So I have it open here, which is this is called the trace post process profile. The name is called trace post process. So what it does is it takes a copy of the table, which I've commented here, and so this is like a table, which is a data type in MATLAB. Yeah, so now if you want to see how it does, you can add a breakpoint and just click here, make it red, and you just do whatever you want to, I mean, what you previously does, right? You go back to the program and then record the position here, right? And or maybe just rerun this profile here. Click the trace position, the program will stop at this breakpoint, and this allows you to see what it does under the hood. So essentially, the T is a MATLAB table. So here, what I did is I make a new column called relative position. So essentially, adds a new column to this table and make the first row 0, right? Which I just did, right? The first row here is 0. Now from the second row, we can calculate the relative position between the second peak to the first peak by subtracting the position of the first peak from the position of the second peak. And we can repeat this process for the relative position of the third peak by subtracting the position of the second peak from the position of the second peak. So this is how you calculate the relative position. As you can see, it's relatively straightforward and simple to understand, and you can perform more complex operations by writing your own script. So, and one benefit of this feature is you can not only use one profile at a time, you can use multiple profiles at a time. So for instance, in this profile, we only add additional column called relative position, but you can also add additional profiles. And so for instance, you can add another profile and check that as well. And the program will apply all the profiles in a sequential manner. So in that way, you can add additional column into your table calculation. So once you finish recording, let's say you apply 2 profiles. So once you finish recording, it adds 2 columns, right? One profile adds one metric and the other profile adds another metric. So it adds another column. So in that way, you can automate the calculation of additional metrics by using multiple profiles. All right, that's for today's video. Thanks for watching.